This is the Todd Capital Millionaire Podcast. This is episode 38, also kind of 39. We messed up on the last podcast because we thought we were going to have guest number 38, and then we had 39 and 38/39. But anyway, my name is Charles Oglesby, also known as Todd Millionaire. You guys all know me. I'm the founder, director of the Todd Capital Investment Club that now has over 200 members. Also the founder of Todd Acquisitions, which is our real estate firm, and Todd Ventures, which is our crowd-funded venture capital firm. We're buying something in the next 90 days. I can promise you that. Thank you all for tuning in. The purpose of this podcast is to share the successful stories of African-American investors and business owners so that people can see that business and investing are the keys to financial success and generational wealth. With us today, we have Mr. Kadeem Wells. He is a real estate investor from Southern California. He'll tell you more about himself, but I was just on Instagram and he was talking about all the things he's accomplished in such a short amount of time. So I wanted to get him on here to show people that it's possible, man. That's the real point of this show, is to show you that it's possible. So you can go out there, you can do the same exact thing in different areas of the country, and hopefully improve your lives, the life of your family, and just improve the entire community. So welcome to the show, man. Welcome.
How you doing? I appreciate you for having me on, my man.
So can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you've done so far?
All right. Well, my name is Kadeem Wells. I'm from Inglewood, California. Born and raised here in Los Angeles. So I spent the majority of my life here. Went off to college, went to Atlanta. Originally started off in Phoenix, though, at Grand Canyon University, but I realized that the population did not suit those like myself, and many of us. So I decided to transfer to Morehouse, which is where I really, really wanted to go coming out of high school. However, unfortunately, a lot of our admissions department or college counselors, they don't encourage us to go to HBCUs because of the funding. So that's why I went off to Phoenix, because I still wanted to play basketball, was still chasing that dream. Then I realized, that's not going to happen. That's when I made that transfer to Morehouse, and that actually was the best decision I made in my life. Being down there, being in that culture really showed me what a man should be. That's where I learned how to dress, where I learned how to speak, where I learned how to write. And being in that environment really showed me what I can do. However, as you're talking about investing, I learned none of that there. I think a lot of us, we don't learn how to invest, learn how to save our money, know about real estate and taxes. We don't really learn that in college per se. So once I got out of college, I started working for Los Angeles County for what is called Department of Social Services, which is helping families who need, aid. So cash assistance, food stamps, and things of that nature. After about 8 months of doing that, I realized there was something more out of life than just clocking in at the job. So a friend of mine actually put a post out on Facebook about selling her house. Now, at this time, it's 2013. It's actually around this time in 2013 in October. And I was already thinking, okay, once I get my hand on some money, start a career, I want to buy my mama a house. Who doesn't want to do that? So when she put this post out, that made me look. And when I sent her a message like, hey, put me on, what's going on? What you mean you sold a house? I mean, we 23, 24 years old. How did you buy a house? So she said her and her best friend had sold their duplex. So she sent me to her agent. He started to educate me on what I can buy, letting me know all I needed was a first-time home buyer loan, which was 3.5% of the down payment. And that's how I really got started. So I was able to buy my first property in February of 2014, right before my 25th birthday, which is February 20th. And that was basically my gift to myself. And from then on, that's where I really, really started to open my eyes and look into investing. Because the number one commonality amongst all millionaires and billionaires is real estate. So as I started doing more research on YouTube, I came across a guy named Jay Morrison. And I was really attracted to his swag, how he conducted himself, what he represented. I enrolled in his online academy. And that is where I started to search through his Instagram followers and networking and talking to people, and started talking to a lady in Detroit. So connected. And that's where me and a friend of mine, we bought properties out there. And that's where the investment game took off. And from then on, I had my property out here in LA in Watts, and then had the properties in Detroit. And the same friend that got me into real estate is who got me into the finance industry. And that's moved over to helping families with investments. So learning how to invest in the stock market, learning about the proper life insurance, basically how to put money away, how to build it up. And after doing that part-time, I decided to go full-time so I can really build a business, residual income. getting those investment licenses. And by doing that, I'm able to do the same thing that, the good old boys do on Wall Street. However, I'm here to bring that income, to bring that financial market to those in the middle class, and especially my community. So that's the biggest thing I'm focusing on right now, is helping families invest, learn how to put money away for retirement, giving them financial game plans, showing them how to buy real estate. I still do a little bit of that. I actually just went to the Damon Johns entrepreneurship event he had in Long Beach, and actually enrolled in a real estate course there just to get in the swing of things of wholesaling. So me and my spouse, she's going to attend that just to do that on the side still, because that's the number one thing, is knowing how to get into these properties, knowing how to find investors. So that's what I'm really on right now, is building my assets, educating my family, and building something for our community, man, because it's not taught. And for me, educating those in my neighborhood in Inglewood, where we come from, it's changing right now. It's neighborhood, but with this football stadium coming in, then you have Steve Ballmer trying to put this NBA arena in for the Clippers. It's really changing.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, he's trying to build a arena out here for the Clippers.
Really?
Next to the football stadium. So a lot of gentrification is going on right now, and Inglewood has no control. So, the more that goes up with inflation, the less it is of us in our neighborhood, and it's changing. It's really changing. But for me, it's been on top of that. That's the real reason why I enrolled in that real estate course. I know how to buy real estate, but understanding that networking is everything.
Yeah.
Environment, picking up on wholesale deals is something that I really wanted to add, to my assets. So I decided to do that. And right now, we're just the movement of entrepreneurship and building and growing and maintaining assets, man. That's the biggest thing, especially as a young Black man coming from the hood. They don't believe we can do that. So getting these licenses, the Series 6, the 63, and the 26, that's a big thing, because our culture is not known for that. So for me, that's what I really want to bless my neighborhood with, is giving them, those keys.
Yeah.
And that's my main focus right now.
So I have a few questions. There's a lot in there. I guess we'll take it back to just Morehouse. What do you think? What did you see the difference in cultures between where you were and then where you went?
You said the cultures of where I was?
Yeah, in regards to the university in Phoenix, then when you went to Morehouse.
Well, in Phoenix, it's not that many Black people.
Yeah.
Heck, and celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday.
Yeah.
So being out there, it wasn't that many African Americans. There were a few on my team. One of my best friends that I met for life, his name is Aaron. He's from Chicago. He was out there. Another one of my boys, Cam, who's from Phoenix. He lives out there still. And I met a couple other good friends, but the culture is very, very different because there aren't that many of us out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so already literally 2 days on campus, I was like, okay, this is gonna be different. It's not much to do in Phoenix. They don't even have a Magic Mountain at Disneyland. They don't have anything but the movie theater. Now they have a little bit more. I've heard they built a little bit more, but it wasn't much to do. And it was boring, man. I'm just keeping 100. It was boring.
What I've seen, though, is that I think that these HBCUs empower people to do great things.
Right, right. That's the one thing that really helped me out being down in Atlanta, because at Morehouse, we have this thing called Crown Forum. So every week, a top entrepreneur, African-American, would come in. So Magic Johnson came through. Spike Lee went there. So he came through to talk to us a little bit. We also had other big-time people that were big during the Civil Rights Movement, people who were making an impact in philanthropy that probably aren't known globally or around the U.S., but make a big impact in Atlanta. So that was something that was real big for me, seeing, African-American men be successful. Because for me, I come from a family where we have no fathers. So I was the first to go to college, the first to, buy a home, for myself. We had a home in the family, but we lost it due to back taxes that my grandmother had since, the 1960s. So for me right now, being in that environment was a true blessing. And being in the sports journalism department, that allowed for me to go to Atlanta Hawks games.
Yeah.
Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons.
Home Depot guy, right?
You said what?
He started Home Depot?
Yeah, he started Home Depot. a lot of guys that worked for ESPN. Michael Wilbon came through. I don't know if you remember watching First Take when the guys, the brothers of the Two Live Stews, they were on there. Quite a few people came through, come talk to us, and it was real big for me, man. It really.
One thing that I've also realized is like just the culture, not just at the university, but in Atlanta is a lot different. And so, like California, and I've told people this before, like it's just way different, especially for like young African American people. As opposed to when you go to Atlanta, you see like Black millionaires, you see Black wealthy people, you see Black families, Black schools that are thriving and doing well.
Man, down there people really come through. So at that time, I transferred in 2008. So this was when, you know, T.I. had his case going on. So he had just like gotten out in 08. Young Jock, this is when he was hot. He would roll through. Gucci Man. So their superstars actually roll through the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So Ludacris has his own day out there for the school where he'll have a celebrity basketball game, which is really, really popping. You know, of course, homecoming is off the chain. It's what is called the AUC, which is Spelman, Clark, and Morehouse together. They'll do different homecoming events. But yeah, you'll see the Rolls Royces, you know, the Bentleys rolling through down there like it's normal. And that really was, you know, something big to see because celebrities really do roll through versus out here, you got Hollywood, you know. And I roll Inglewood and Carson, you know, and Rolls Royce and the things of that down there. And plus right now they're taking over the Black capital as far as in the movie industry for Black film. So Black Hollywood really is out in Atlanta now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about the J. Morrison Academy. It's one thing to learn about real estate through the books. It's another to take that academy. What did you learn in the academy? Do you think that you were able to become more knowledgeable and experienced in regards to like strategy through that academy?
You said through a strategy?
Well, just like, do you think that you were able to pick up on something at a deeper level through that academy than you would if you were just out there kind of trying to do it on your own?
He definitely gives you insight on different ways to move forward, especially with things like wholesaling, being able to buy a property, the small things, knowing that you only need an FHA, okay, knowing that you can, you know, get a business loan or get a loan to purchase properties and things of that nature. The biggest thing I took from it, though, was credit. Now, coming out of school, of course, I had student loans, and I knew if you pay your stuff on time, you be able to get some credit. But what I learned there is to keep your credit cards under 30% and make those monthly payments. That's what the credit bureaus want to see you do.
Yeah.
It's not about how much you pay on them each month. You can pay the minimum. They just want to see you make those payments. But when you keep it under 30%, so if you got $1,000 credit card, which is your limit is $1,000, don't spend over $300. Okay, and when let's say you spend $200, pay $50 on a monthly, pay it down. They see you making those payments, and of course you can cash it out if you want to. So with that's where I really learned how to manage my credit. People have different philosophies with that. Some people say keep it under 30%. Some people say just pay it off each month. I think both of them work. Yeah. So either way it goes right now, that's what I've been able to do. Understanding the tax implications, understanding that when you are in business, you get those tax write-offs. So that came out big. I'm really big on that, saving all my receipts. Yeah. And another key thing is when you're a real estate agent or working in real estate or working for yourself, lease a car. Do not buy. Why? You can write off that car note. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. So everything that comes with your car insurance, your maintenance, the car note, when you lease it, you get to write all those things off. So that's the biggest thing I learned is that part. Knowing the difference between that 1099 and the W-2. So for me, that was the biggest thing I took away. Tax write-off, I should say taxes in whole and credit.
Cool. So I kind of want to talk about that first property that you bought. Was that a duplex or a single family home?
It looks like a single family, but it's actually 4 units.
Really?
4 units. Yeah, it looks like a single family because of the way that it was built. It was originally a single family home, but I guess the previous owners who had it before me, I guess they, added on to it over time, but it's actually 4 units in there.
Nice. And so you had tenants in there. Were you living in one of the units, or did you just have it fully occupied by tenants?
It was fully occupied by tenants.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And so was it producing positive cash flow?
It was. Based on how LA goes, you pay the water bill like every 2 months. So 1 month I make a profit, 1 month I wouldn't get much profit. However, if you look at it in the whole for a year, I was getting about $500 to $600 a month.
Yeah.
Month by month. So that's pretty decent cash flow. But the biggest thing with it is, when you own a property, you can get cash flow, or you can basically buy and hold, for the equity to increase.
Yeah. Very cool. Before I put you on the show, I wanted to get some questions from the audience as well. So somebody said, how did you get that initial down payment?
Man, I saved.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from my environment, I saw my mom struggle a lot, saw my family blow a lot of money, coming from the hood, you got your homies, your relatives, they're in the streets, making their money the way that they make it. So growing up, I always had that mindset that I didn't want to live that lifestyle. So I knew once I was able to make some legit money to start saving. So once I got out of school and I finally got on with LA County, I told my mom, the way that you've been able to survive since I've been gone, stick with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start saving so, I can get us a house. So I started putting away money, man. Just started saving $1,000 a month. Yeah, just started saving. I would buy a couple of things like some Jordans and whatnot, but I wouldn't go spend money on unnecessary things because I understood that, everybody's not living that life they say they live in, whether it's Snapchat.
Yeah.
Not really living it, man.
Yeah.
For me to be secure and be okay with that, to understand that people on social media make it look good. They make it look good. Yep. But you got to understand the bigger goal. You got to think long-term, not short-term. So for me, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to go buy this house. Because I thought you needed $30,000 to buy a house. I'm like, how do you do this? Until I got educated on FHA. Mm-hmm. So by the time my friend made that post, remember I told you it was around this time. So it was October of 2013. Yeah. I had 1,000 saved. So
how much again?
What'd you say?
You said how much again?
I said I had about 8,000 saved. So from October, when she made that post, I met with him, I would say mid-November with the agent. And then from then on, I got the house in February. So with those 2 months, we looked for a property. And I had 2 more months to save. So the first down payment, I only need the 3.5%. So it was about $10,600 I had to put down.
Nice. And so after you put down that $10,000, you got the keys, then where did you go from there? Did it already have tenants in it? Did you have to find tenants? Did you have to rehab the property?
There was one tenant in there, and one tenant was already moving.
Okay.
So once I finally got the keys, it was a whole new ball game. Had to look around a little bit, clean up. And from then on, that's when the journey began of understanding what to do. So, my family helped me clean out the units, clean it up a little bit, get a couple of things fixed within the properties as far as each unit. And then, from then on, I started putting out the notices to get tenants. So I worked through Christmas with that and was able to fill up my properties that way.
Do you still own that property today?
No, that is actually the property that I sold. That last post I made on my Instagram that you commented on. I sold that back in February.
Nice.
I just haven't posted it, so I decided to post it, a couple months later.
So did you make some money on the back end on the appreciation?
Yeah, I bought it for $304 and sold it for $360. So I came roughly about $50,000.
Nice. And so then, what did you do with that money? Did you put that towards another deal or?
I actually, since I got my investment license, I put most of it in a mutual fund just to let it sit. For a couple years.
Yeah.
So right now I'm just building with the business, focusing on that. So I was able to put that money away. So now I'm just reloading on my business, building up. And from now on, just to let it sit. And, I don't necessarily need it right now per se, unless it was a big emergency. But for now, just strictly focusing on my business, letting that money sit, because in the bank, it's not making any money.
No.
So to get this full, that's why we got to get that education on how money works, man, because we are not getting anything from the bank. And to put real estate, as far as that part of investing, to put investments as far as stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, understanding that, being able to put it together is a real big thing, because when you're investing, you can bypass the bank and go straight to, the stock market yourself. And the beautiful thing about what I was able to do is by getting those investment licenses, I was able to invest my own money. So instead of another broker getting paid off my investment, I paid myself basically. I got paid off my own investment. Really? When you manage money, you're getting a residual income from that. You're getting paid off that each and every month. So if I don't need to touch my money for 3, 4, 5 years, guess who paid off that for the next 3 to 4 or 5 years?
Wow.
So in my business, as I make more money and build up and continue to put money away, I'm gonna get paid off my own money for the rest of my life.
That's crazy. As
I continue to help other clients invest, as I build those assets under management, I'm gonna get paid off that forever. Mm-hmm. The beautiful thing about what I do and working through my company with Primerica, we get to work through Invesco and Legg Mason and Lincoln Financial. Mm-hmm. Between what I do versus a Morgan Stanley or Bank of America, those employees, they're just employees. That's not their book of business. That book belongs to the bank and to Morgan Stanley, to Voya, whatever investment company, those investments belong to the company. You don't own that book of business. So once you retire after working your job as a stockbroker for 30, 40 years, you only walk away with your retirement. You know, unless you pulling a Wolf of Wall Street move and, you know, stealing people's money, you know, coming out like Jordan Belfort did with Mega Millions. But other than that, you know, that's the beautiful thing about what I do and how our company works is because I get to own this book of business for the rest of my life.
And so you have the ability to sell insurance, stocks, bonds, all that stuff?
All of that. So we don't do individual stocks. We help clients get into mutual funds because with a stock, you're investing in one company. So let's say you bought into Apple or Nike. If Apple or Nike crashes, you lose everything. How when the stock market crashed in 07, 08, a lot of people lost a lot of money in their retirement. So that's why you got to diversify. You got to have money saved at your job and you got to have money saved outside of your job. The thing is, though, a Morgan Stanley and the bank, they're not going to educate you on how these investments work. Morgan Stanley, they're not even going to have a conversation with you and I. Unless you got $250,000 to invest, they're not having a conversation with us. With me, I can help that single mom, you know, that family who, as a total income, might only bring in $50,000 a year. I can help them put away $50 a month for their kid to go to college and show them that, hey, do you know the average rate of return in a mutual fund is 10 to 12%, and it's been that way since 1924? They don't know that. They don't know what the rule of 72 is that Albert Einstein came up with that teaches you how your money's going to double, you know, over the course of 10 to 15 years. You're getting a 12% return, your money's really going to double every 6 years. Those are small little things that Morgan Stanley isn't going to teach your family. Dollar cost averaging, meaning putting away $50 a month. Understanding that if you invest every month into this mutual fund, your money's going to grow even when the market drops. Why? Because when the stock market drops, it's just like when Foot Locker has a shoe sale. Well, we selling Jordans for $100. With $100, you only can get one pair of shoes, right? But if they got them on sale at 50% off, with $100, you can buy 2 pair of Jordans. Yep. That's how the market works. When the market dropped, that's the best time to buy. So when the housing market crashed in 2008, when the stock market crashed in 2008, everybody got scared, pulled their money out. What did the rich and the wealthy do? They said, oh, that's a good thing. Let me buy everything because why it's on sale.
Yep.
Market shot right back up in 2009. They made a whole lot of returns.
Yep.
Our people aren't educated on that, so they don't know. They pull out, they get scared. It's no, leave your money in there, let it grow over time. Because if the market didn't fluctuate and it didn't go back up, we'll still be stuck in the Great Depression. But we're not. We still living. People still becoming millionaires. People are still getting rich. People are still taking care of their families. So at the end of the day, it's just about educating our families on what's going on because, like I said, these other major companies, they're not going to have a conversation with us and they're not going to educate us. The thing is, they don't even educate the rich and the wealthy on how to invest. They just tell them, hey, you know, this mutual fund, this stock is doing so well. Move your money over here. And then when it drops, they go find another fund. Hey, move your money over here. Well, if you making $1 million, $2 million a year, you got money, so you're not really thinking anything about it. But this stockbroker is getting paid on the back end. Every time they move your money, they getting a commission. So if I'm steady moving $300,000, $400,000 of somebody's money, they steady getting paid off that, a nice hefty commission.
Yep.
But what the client doesn't know is that's a sales charge. So when you move 300,000 to another fund, you get charged on that. The charge might be 5%. 5% of 300,000, what maybe, I don't know off the top of my head, maybe what, like, let me say 20,000. What'd you say?
It was like 15,000.
Like 50,000. So you invested 300,000, but they charging you 5%. So 300,000 is 15,000, leave you with what? 385? I mean 285. So you let that money sit for a year, then you move it again, they go another charge.
Yep.
So they don't even educate them on that, but when you're making millions and millions, you steady got money coming in, so it's not a big deal to them. But that's the basic thing it is educating our families on what we can do, and that's what I enjoy the most, versus, being behind a desk at a 9 to 5, which is nothing wrong with that because that's your jump start.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm just in that phase of building, and when I decided to walk away from my job, it was about building for me, understanding how this money game works, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's president. It doesn't matter what's going on with politics. It doesn't matter what's going on in the economy. People are still getting wealthy, and we do the same thing.
Nice. I 100% agree. I think that if anything's to be done for us, it'll be by us. I think that's the only way that you can have the purest intention, where, you have somebody who's legit looking out for that person because they care about them. I always say, like, your grandma looks like my grandma. So it's like, I'm not going to try to get up on you. It's like we all come from the same place.
Right. And that's what you just said is real big, because especially in the Black community, man, we do not support one another. I don't understand what it is. We got a lot of pride, a lot of jealousy, in our community. That's the one thing that we got to change. We just got to start keeping it 100, man. And even when if you look at what's going on with the NFL right now, think about this. What if all of them were, bold enough to do what Kaepernick did and say, you know what, I'm going to do it for the people and not for the money?
Yeah.
You think these billionaires and millionaires will really feel the way that they feel right now? Because you can't tell me the NFL can go on without Black athletes. You can't tell me.
You know what the crazy part about that thing, and I was saying, like, the opposite, is you see the solidarity amongst the owners.
Right.
Owners all said, we're not picking up Kaepernick. Like, It wasn't like one or two people like, oh, man, I got to do it. He's a good athlete. We need a quarterback. They're willing to let their team go down.
Right.
Not pick up Kaepernick. But we're not willing to say, you know what, I don't need the check. I don't need this. And I think that's –
And that's the crazy part, because, everybody's entitled to their belief. Everybody's entitled to take care of their family.
Yeah.
Just if they would really think, what's controlling you? The money, or are you going to do it for your people? Because at the end of the day, the NFL and the NBA for sure cannot move without us.
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah.
Just can't. So if they were to, like you said, become solidified and join, in solidarity and say, you know what, we're gonna strike, or we're gonna take a ban for a cause, that can bring about great change, man, because they have the power to do it. But, at the end of the day, they got to do what they have to do for their family. But when you think about that, they have the power to do it. If they all wanted to walk away and protest, they could, man.
I think that I was watching Jay Morrison today, and he was talking about, like, you have to position yourself to do things that elevate you.
Right.
Meaning that you have to take that cash that you're getting from your job, and instead of balling out with that cash, you position that cash so that then if you run into some stuff on the job, because, the NFL is one thing. People go through stuff on their job every day. But if they can't walk, they have to tolerate it. They have to sit through it because they don't have their finances together.
Right.
So even on a small scale, like, what are you doing now? Like, are you buying a property? Are you buying a business? Are you buying something that's going to generate cash flow so you can live your life so that you have strength, you have power, you can speak truth to power without saying, you know what, got to feed my family, man.
It's amazing that you said that, because I actually have, if you look on my post, I made a post a couple of weeks ago. I got a boy who I grew up with, who played basketball. He's on the Cowboys right now. I haven't spoken to him in a while, but I went to the game, because they was in LA. He's with the Cowboys right now. And I got another homie that grew up with us. He's in and out of the NFL. He hasn't really made a roster, but he's been on a couple of training camp teams. And I asked him, I said, dude, do they educate you guys about finances? Mm-hmm. And he said, not really, just a one-day seminar at the Rookie Symposium. They bring someone in who's been successful. They tell them, save your money, stay away from the women, don't go splurging. And then you got someone who did bad with their money and they basically telling you, don't do what I did. But there's no financial education on what to do. So you got to think, these dudes 20, 21, getting their hand on, let's even just say it's $10,000 a game.
Yeah.
Well, 4 weeks in a month, that's $80,000 a month. No, I mean, that's $40,000 a month. They blowing it. They pay their rent or their mortgage, buying stuff for their homies, flying across the city, flying across the state. They don't really have an education on it. So they're not prone to think, let me buy investment properties, let me have other businesses. Now with that though, LeBron has changed that as far as the mindset of most athletes, because what he's been able to do is amazing, bringing his boys in, starting their own infrastructure and allowing for his guys to be educated to come in and take over. So when he made it, start getting his money, sent them to school, they got educated, came out professionals. He let all his staff go, put his boys in the game, and now they got an empire going. And they're really changing the culture of the landscape when it comes to Black athletes being educated on their finances, educated on being businessmen. So, with that's why he's really moved into becoming like my role model as far as, carrying himself, because he's never gotten in any trouble. Very solid, and has really built up a great profile to, be the leader of our generation. So I really respect him a lot for that. And like I said, they're just not educated on it. So a couple of things that I even went over with my boy who's trying to get on, I just asked him, do they teach y'all any of these things about how to invest? And he flat out said no. So a lot of these guys, they're misguided. These agents could be snakes. And it's every man for themselves when it comes to it. So that's why it's really big for me. I really want to be educated in this field and understand, to the max of what they need to learn, what I need to learn, to be able to be that voice for them, to understand that, hey, this is someone that you can really sit and talk with and understand that I'm going to show you what to do, what's best for you and your family, and not just give you a bunch of BS.
I think that's huge. That LeBron comment, I mean, everything he's doing is awesome. I think that one thing that's really cool about what LeBron did is he positioned his friends to not only work with him, but to work with other athletes. And so, like, it's not just like, oh, I'm security for LeBron. It's like, no, like, I have my own company, which also hires people, that also does jobs, that also helps give people the best quality talent, that also feeds a Black family, that all those different things that kind of go into there when people don't really realize, like, hey, like, you hire a Caucasian or an Asian or whoever, that kind of an agent, and you're feeding their community.
Exactly.
Like, you might be taken care of, but it's bigger than just us, man. It's bigger than just LeBron. It's all the millions of families, the hundreds of families he can impact on a much larger scale level by giving them scale and experience and exposure, as opposed to just kicking them some dollars so they can go buy some sneakers. That's what Rick Ross said. Rick Ross basically said, like, I'm not giving you money. I will give you a business. I'll position you to have your own business. So the thing, you can learn how to run that. You can hire your own people. The last thing I wanted to kind of comment on is just the idea of us positioning ourselves to be able to be a resource to these athletes. And I think that's kind of what you're doing is, like, it's one thing to say, like, put me on. It's another to have the skills and the resource and the experience to say, put me on because of. So, I mean, that's something I've kind of done. I'm working with a few professional athletes that have been hitting me up. I've been working with them on, like, our stocks and our real estate. But it's cool that you're doing the same, especially in LA. It's big because I think that you're going to give them something that has their best interest at heart. It's not something to just get a commission. It's not something just to kind of pull out because you don't really care about them. Like, it's a deeper connection. It's a more real connection. It's something that I think that they need so they can make sure they're getting the best advice, the most solidified advice. And I think it's awesome.
Right. I appreciate that. And you're right. It is real big with that. But what you said about basically going to get it yourself and not looking for a handout, I think a lot of people are afraid to do that. I mean, it's a real big deal to say, you know what, instead of relying on getting this check every week, I'm going to go out and get it myself. Because it takes time. And like I said, with the world we're living in now, everybody wants it right away. They want that right away.
Yeah.
The whole thing about it, though, let me tell you something. I bought a house before I bought a car. When I was working at LA County, I would ride the bus to work. I started working there January 2013. Bought the house February 2014. Still didn't have a car. I didn't get my car, as you see on my post, until October 2015. So I had a property a whole year, was into a career, and didn't have a car. Most people are not going to do that. They get a car so they can, do what they want to do, floss and ball and, talk about things like that. But for me, it was more about the long term and thinking, let me get some assets.
Yeah.
And that's not popular amongst our generation, amongst millennials. Got a lot of YouTube stars, Instagram stars, which is cool. But at the end of the day, it's about what are you building outside of that? Yeah, you popular. Yeah, you popping. Okay. What are you building? Yeah. Are you establishing your credit? What properties are you buying? What business do you have? Because at the end of the day, you're going to be hot now, but 5 years from now, what is it going to look like? Because time is flying, man. Time is flying. So for me, the main thing is building and, like I said, taking that leap of faith, taking that risk to go get it myself, then eventually it's going to be built. Yeah. Look up 5 years from now and be in a great position.
Do you think that it was easier to get that car since you owned the home? Because
Absolutely, because my credit, I got that car with no down payment. It was 2015.
Wow.
October, that was a new car. That was a 2016 brand spanking new. So the way I was able to manage my credit through my student loans, my credit cards, I had the mortgage on there. It took my credit score up. So it was easier and I definitely was able to negotiate for the car note. My car note is 420. It was at 500 at first. That's what they wanted. And me, I'm frugal. I'm like, no, I'm not paying 500 a month. What can we do? Let's negotiate. And once he was able to get it, I was at 420, and I was okay with that. And I always wanted an Infiniti, so I went and got something I really wanted, and understanding that it was a business move, so it was something I needed to do. So I got what I wanted, for making that sacrifice of not having a car to finally being able to get one. So I got what I wanted. But yeah. That was definitely having a house definitely made it easier to get the car because they look at it differently versus how a mortgage looks at the things. With a mortgage, they're looking at if you got a car note, what you paying on, all these other things. With the car, they're just looking at your income and your credit. So if you make enough and your credit score is good enough, they're definitely going to sell you that car.
Yeah. And having mortgage debt, especially because I know you said that when you paid off that mortgage, when you sold the house, that increased your credit score also, right?
Absolutely. Took it up. When I got it, the house, I got it I had like a 620 credit score, which is average. First paying on it every month. Then finally sold it. When you pay that off, that shoots it up. Student loans getting paid on time, credit cards paid on time, and then I paid my credit cards off. The balances weren't that big, just kept them on there, paid them off, and then I really just shot them up. So on top of that, with my credit, I was able to help my lady get a car, to co-sign for her, which I'm not saying do that for everybody. You got to be careful with that. But I understood that, she needed that vehicle, and when my credit score is going to allow for her to get it, that's going to help. That's been helping her credit score improve, and that definitely took mine up even more. So just making solid moves, man.
Would you say that doing things the right way and getting credit established as opposed to just flossing on people allows you to kind of go further in life?
Say that again?
I said it sounds like by doing things in a certain order and not like spending money on the floss, it allowed you to go further in life by elevating your credit score.
Absolutely, because you got to think about it, man. Why do people floss? Why do people brag and boast about themselves? That's because they don't know who they are on the inside. I don't see why if I got money, I got to put it to my ear to make you feel less than of a man.
Yeah.
I don't see why I got to show that I got the money, because I can get on Instagram and show money all day, but at the end of the day, that's going to make people hate you.
Yeah.
The same people who feel the same way you do going to support you and say, yeah, stun on them. But at the end of the day, why not educate your community on what you're doing versus bragging about it? If you read through my posts, I don't brag about having the property or being able to buy it and do those things. My thing is, if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
You talking about a kid who wasn't supposed to make it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no father. Saw my mother struggle. Saw my mother lose her own business. She had a daycare. Mm-hmm. Not being the most well-behaved kid in school, getting kicked out of just about every school I was in. So I'm not supposed to be here. You know, I got one of my best friends is in prison. My nephew is in prison. My little cousin's in prison. I'm not supposed to be here. So at the end of the day, I'm a blessing. So if I can show other young black men or other men, period, or young adults that come from the hood like me that, hey, if I can do this, you can do it. I'm not the smartest kid in the world. I'm not the brightest. But I do understand, don't make the same mistakes my mother did. Don't make the same mistakes my uncles and my cousins did. Don't make the same mistakes my big homies did. Do the opposite. Because at the end of the day, I didn't want to live a life like that. So for me, I'd rather take these bumps and bruises in business versus taking bumps and bruises in these streets, you know, like my homies are doing right now. So for me, that's my biggest thing, because I got nieces and nephews, man. And, you know, I'm their only hope, because the world don't care for them. So I'm the only hope that they have for someone to look up to and say, you know what can I do with my life?
Yeah.
Let me be like my uncle. Or if they don't want to be like me, if they want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, whatever it is that they want to do, you can go do it, because if I can make it, you can make it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my main thing right now. So flossing to me, it shows signs of insecurity. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel, because especially in the time we're living in now, we need to come together versus making other people feel less than. Like, let's build businesses together. Let's bring that Black Wall Street back. But we rather stunt on each other versus getting it together. So for me, I don't see the point, because at the end of the day, you know, I believe in karma. You can get on here and talk that mess if you want to. God could take it away from you the next day. Yeah. You can be here today, gone tomorrow. So I'm very humble in that. I just like to share with my people what we can do, because at the end of the day, you're going to get more views and likes on Instagram for something ratchet. And if you're talking mess, then talking some real boss stuff, you know, not just the way it is. It's sad, but that's the way it is. But at the end of the day, it don't matter. As long as you're able to inspire people and help those who need it, that's all that matters. You know, yeah. DM me and comment on there on my post and say, man, I look up to you, or I admire what you're doing. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, the assets are going to last longer than the diamonds and the partying and all that, because these people can drink Hennessy all day. I'd rather own some shares of Hennessy than been drinking it all day and then end up with liver disease when I'm in my 50s and 60s.
Yep.
Man,
that's a good point, man.
Yeah, they don't think about, our generation don't think about that. With me, when you start asking about the life insurance, when it comes to our health, and I'm talking to families, in the African-American culture, we have a lot of high blood pressure and diabetes. But if you look at other cultures, when they're in their 50s and 60s, they're retiring well and they're traveling the world and they don't have these health issues.
Yeah.
You see? So for me, I look at all of that. And I rather live life good and understand that I can take care of my family than stunting on somebody else and feeling like I got to compete with them when it's really competition. Because at the end of the day, you can be at all the parties all you want. You're doing the same thing every week.
Yeah.
What are you buying? Do you own a home? Do you have good credit? Can you do something valuable for your family? That's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, all these Instagram ballers, when they do pass away, God, you know, it's not good to say that, but especially being in LA, you see a lot of, you know, the little hood stars, and they end up getting their lives taken. Their family's still putting up GoFundMes. But y'all supposed to be balling. Y'all can't pay for these services yourself.
Yeah.
You still need us to, you know, donate when you should have had the proper life insurance in place to make sure your family's okay. God forbid you leave this earth. Or to use your own money if y'all got it like that. So for me, it's about the bigger picture, man. Yeah. Like, I really look up to LeBron. I look up to Diddy and what they're able to do as businessmen, and I'd rather do that than worry about what's going on and who flossing and who partying every weekend. It really don't. That stuff gets boring and tiring. You feel me?
So what are some burdens that you've had to overcome, and how did you get over those?
In life or in business?
Let's do both. Let's talk about life, and then we'll talk about business.
I mean, I think the first thing is, you know, not having a father. As a kid, you don't really understand it. But as I got older, I started to understand it when I was in high school. I mean, who wouldn't want their dad around?
Yeah.
So for me, it's not so, I didn't think about it a lot. I didn't really start thinking about it until I got to Morehouse, actually, because you would have Parents' Day. My mom didn't have the money to fly out there, but just seeing the guys that I met, being there with their dads, somebody that was able to, shoot hoops with, go to football games with, talk about real stuff with, just that you can't talk about with your mom.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. As an adolescent, like I said, I wasn't the most well-behaved kid, that too. When you have a father in your life, they're able to teach you certain things. Like I get in trouble for stupid stuff, talking back to teachers, running my mouth in class, just not being respectful, being mischievous. So that's a big thing. In college, my biggest obstacle in college was understanding the academics, because coming from Inglewood, not the best educational system.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I knew what I was doing when I got to college, but I really had to learn how to write, man. An analytical paper, an argumentative paper, knowing what a thesis is. Since I was in order to be in that sports journalism program, I had to be an English major. So I really had to learn how to write. So that was my biggest obstacle, is getting that down. And I was able to overcome that. Then after that, just dealing with life as a young adult. My mom, I take care of my mother because she has health issues. And she's still battling her personal issues, dealing with family. And then, of course, getting the property, getting into business, learning how to work with tenants. And right now I'm in the phase of building my financial services business and building my team, and just going through those stages. People think it's all peaches and cream because that's all they want to see. But right now I'm in that phase of that labor, to where when I get to where I want to be, I'm able to look back and say, this is what I've been through.
Yeah.
So the obstacles, have definitely prepared me. I never quit. It's been times where I walked in the house and we didn't have no food, and I was able to survive that. Been times where I thought I wasn't gonna make it out of Morehouse because of the academics, and I was able to get past that. And one thing, even with that, what I left out is when I actually went to Morehouse, I didn't have any money. I went there with no money. I went on the faith walk. I didn't have any financial aid. I didn't have anything. I stayed on campus for the first 30 days with no money for school, and I was refusing to come back to LA. I remember that day I got to finally speak with my financial aid advisor, Miss Jackson. I just told her, like, I'm from LA, and I'm not going back, so we got to do something.
Yeah.
So they always say they don't have money. Then they do have money. She pulled up student loans, and she gave me a couple of scholarships that they had. And she said, look, you got to keep a 3.0 every semester. If you don't, you going back to LA. And I said, say no more. I had to maintain a 3.0 my whole 3 years there, and I was able to do that.
That's cool, man.
That was my biggest thing. Let me get my charger real quick. Give me that phone charger. So that was my the biggest thing that I had to overcome as far as in school. But overall in life, man, right now the biggest thing is just, like I said, in business right now. Trying to move forward with building a business. Then you got a lot of things that come into play as far as friendship, things that you deal with. With the moves I've made, when you mentioned about jealousy and obstacles, I really, really wanted to be just like LeBron, build it with my friends. So when I got into the real estate, I tried to involve my friends. I told them what to do, and everybody don't listen, But for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to make these sound decisions, and I'm going to invest my money versus tricking it off. Because let's think about this. How much money do you think the average, 25, 26, 27-year-old blows per month? Easy 500.
Yeah.
Easy. If you put $500 away a month for a year, you got 6 racks at the end of the year. You spend that on Hennessy, the club, fast food, buying shoes and clothes that you don't really need. You spend that miscellaneously. So instead of spending it, just save it.
Yeah.
But we don't want to make that sacrifice. And for me, I was willing to make that sacrifice. I understood that the shoes and the clothes don't mean much, because Jordan sell us the same damn shoes. So for me, that was the biggest obstacle, just getting through that. Just staying connected to God, staying faithful, man, having faith. And like even right now, I'm on another faith walk. Like I said, with my business, with building my business since I walked away from my job. That's a big thing, and being on commission, you gotta go get it. So for me, I'd rather take this journey now. So 2 years from now, I can look up and say I did it and be, financially independent and doing whatever I want to do. Yeah. I'm willing to take that sacrifice because, shoot, it was just 2015, 2 years ago. Time. Yeah. So, and I'll be all right. I keep my head up and keep it moving. And for me, it's just I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
What I have to lose. I've been, like I said, I've been able to go through school, went out there on a faith walk, got through that, had to learn how to write as an English major. I got through that, so I get through this too.
It's funny because I was going to ask you if that's something that you've done other areas of your life. I wanted to say if like just hopping into something by faith and just letting it kind of work. I mean, people who do things, it's like they say, like the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So what are some other examples of like you just hopping out on faith?
For me, that I have to go through, the first one was, of course, going to school without the money. The second one was actually when I got home, when I graduated. I didn't start working for LA County until January 2013. I graduated from Morehouse May 2011. Mm-hmm. So I went a whole year and a half without finding a real job. I worked small things like I was a campus aide, which is like a aide for KIPP Academy with the elementary school. But that took 6 months to get into. I didn't get that job till November 2011. Mm-hmm. Worked that till June 2012. And then from June 2012 to January 2013, no job. And the way I survived off that is saving. When I was working that small job, putting away $500 a month.
Yeah.
By the time I knew that job was going to be over, at least I had money for these 6 months.
Yeah.
When I ran out of money at that 6 month, God blessed me with that job at LA County. So at the end of the day, it's going to come full circle. Without struggle, there's no progress. Yeah. Thing is, most of us don't want to struggle, but even I don't want to struggle, but I understand every day I got to tell myself, it's going to I've been through it before, it's going to turn out again. You can't be happy with God when things are going well and then get mad at God when things are going wrong.
Yeah.
You just can't. You got to have faith through that, and you got to be thankful and humble through the good and the bad, because my darkest time when I was out of school, I was frustrated. I just graduated from Morehouse. I can't get a job. Pissed, angry. And then I get the job, and then I'm able to have some money. Okay, then I'm able to get a property, and I'm able to get a car, and I'm able to get all these different ways to make income. Everything is all lovely.
Yeah. But
at the end of the day, it all could have been taken from me. At the end of the day, I decided to become a full-blown entrepreneur, and you got to struggle. I mean, nobody wants to struggle. Yeah. But I wouldn't be able to talk to you like this today if I didn't have a testimony to tell. So for me, you have to go through it. So that it was going to school on that faith walk, getting out of school and going on that faith walk of waiting until I finally got that career job at LA County. And then, like I said, right now I'm going through it of, having a business and trying to build a business and learning how to work with people, learning how to help families, building my clientele. Right now is on a faith walk. So for me, those are the biggest three, as a young adult, as an adult. And then, as a kid at obstacle, just surviving, just you wondering where I would be, in my adult life. That's what I used to think about a lot as a kid. What's going to happen? Like I said, seeing my mother struggle, seeing the road that some of my friends were taking as far as, being in the streets, just wondering where I'm going to be in my 20s. And that's why I can't complain. I'm blessed. I'm blessed to come from where I come from, to be able to buy a house at 24 years old. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
That's unheard of. Being in the hood, that's unheard of. So I can't get mad when things aren't going my way.
Yeah.
I got to stay prayed up and just keep telling myself every day it's going to change. It's going to change. It's going to change. I mean, everybody struggles, man. LeBron go through stuff. We just able to mask it. You know, everybody do things. So for me, it's just about moving forward on the daily and understanding the bigger goal. The biggest goal for me is to own my city. Just like when people think of the Lakers, they think Magic Johnson. When you think Inglewood, I want you to think Kadeem Wells.
Nice.
And that's all I can focus on right now.
That's awesome, man.
You got to focus on that end goal. I want to own everything, the whole city, everything.
I got two quick questions. All right, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, I mean that literally and figuratively. Like, I want to own a lot of properties in the neighborhood, but I want you to think of the city as the face. So when people come to LA and they get off at LAX and they riding down Century and they go past the Forum, I want to have my own billboard up there. Mm-hmm. You know, have a billboard of people knowing this, you know, this is where I come from.
Yeah, that's cool. So two quick questions and we'll wrap it up. I'll let you share how people get in contact with you and everything. But what's your favorite book?
You know what? I'm glad you asked that too. By being in Primerica and under my leadership of Sonia Posse, who's actually the highest paid single African American woman in this company. She makes
I've heard a lot about her.
$600,000 a year. She's from Compton. She had the same story I had. She really got me into reading. So I actually just finished reading The 5 Levels of Leadership by John Maxwell. Talks about leadership. And I've read The 5 Letters of Leadership. He has How Successful People Think. And he has another book on leadership that I finished reading. I just read those 3 books this year. And I just started reading Jordan Belfort's book, The Guy from the Wolf of Wall Street. I just started reading his book yesterday.
The new one, right?
Buying, selling. And then I want to read Kevin Hart's book. And I actually have a book by Shaq called Shaq Uncut that I want to read. But my favorite one I will have to say has to be about the leadership. So I will say that John Maxwell, 5 Levels of Leadership. You know, just telling you how to lead people and being that example for them. So I would say that's what my favorite one so far.
That's cool. There's a lot in there. For one, I've heard a lot about Sonia Posse. I've seen her on Instagram. She's living the life.
Man, but when you talk about flossing, she can floss all she wants, but that lady is so down to earth, so cool. For all the money she make, she never forget where she come from, man. You know, being from the hood too. That's why, you know, I relate to her so much because she kick it with us. She's not someone who makes all this money and we trying to get to her level. And she's like, well, you got to do what I did. No, she's in the threshold. She in the grind with us. She coaches us. She answers our phone calls at 1, 2 in the morning. And this is what she do. She really there for us. She's not like, you know, people who say they're your coach or say they're your leader and say they love you and it's all talk. No, she cry. For her to be so tough, she the biggest crybaby. But she in the threshold with us, man. And I really, really love and respect her for that. And I wouldn't have it no other way. It's nothing like having somebody who's really there for you when you going, like you say, your obstacles, your ups and downs, someone who's been through what you've been through and they can tell you it's going to be all right. Yeah. You know, she's amazing.
That's cool. Last question is, what does wealth mean to you?
Say that again.
So the last question is, what does wealth mean to you?
What does wealth mean to me? My family never running out of money. That's the first thing. The second thing is having influence. Wealthy. If I could be worth that 500 million, if I could be worth $1 billion or more, I'll be able to have an influence on my community. I can fix the Inglewood Unified School System. I can give other young Black men someone to look up to that's not an athlete, to let them know, like, look, we come from the same place. You can do this. Being able to communicate with them, you know, to walk up and down the street, and actually talk to them versus just passing through. You know, being able to come to your community and not just come and leave, but actually be in this thing and talk to the kids and actually communicate. And when I say talk to them, meaning they can call your phone and converse with you, man. I think that's big, and that's why I don't want to make money just to have money so I could floss or just go live my life, but I want to change my family's life and really, really have a big impact on my community. That's my main thing. All the other extra stuff, the jewelry, the diamonds, and the nice cars, all that stuff will come. Because at the end of the day, you can't take it with you. But I can pass this money down to the community and to my family forever.
Yep. Very cool, man. So can you tell us more about what you're doing with your company, your business? Tell people where they can find you. It's kind of like and everything you have going for yourself.
You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Wells 89. You can find me on Facebook, Kadeem Wells. I actually got to update my Twitter. I haven't actually been on in a couple years since I actually changed my Instagram name, and I'll do that soon. But you can definitely find me on Instagram and Facebook. And then my Snapchat, I have to change that too, but it's Dizzle, DIZZLE _1989. I'll change that soon to something more professional. But that's where you guys can find me. Anyone can DM me. Anyone want to talk about investments, real estate, I'm down for the conversation. And I really want to, give you a shout out for having me on here. It's crazy that you asked to be on this podcast because when you think about dreams, I follow Gary Vee, and he always says, when you start out with those small interviews, put it on YouTube. You don't know who's going to watch it, even if it's one view. Yep. And being in Primerica, it actually led me to this. I was on a TV show. That's something I always wanted to do, is talk in front of people, be on TV. So you never know where your dreams and goals are actually going to come through. Yeah. I really wanted to do it in sports and entertainment, but it's coming through business. And this is the first start. Had I known it was going to be like this, I would have, dressed up. And hopefully we can, really do something in person and record it. Yeah. Because I'm starting to work on a series. I started recording last week. I'm starting to upload something every Sunday night of what we talked about. It'll be a question that I'm asking myself, and I'm just going to elaborate on it, about where I come from, what I've been through. So that's what I'm actually starting up. So, I appreciate you for this, man. Hopefully we can connect, and actually sit down and talk in person sometime and really build and network on a few things, man, because I think this is big, having this podcast, I love talking to people. I love being on the camera. And if I can, make an impact on my community, that's the main thing I want to do, man. That's the main thing. So I would really want to thank you for that, and everybody who that tuned in. Like I said, you can get at me on Instagram, Mr. Wells 89. Get at me on Facebook, Kadeem Wells, and I'm here to really get it moving and really to have a takeover and have an impact on the community in a positive way.
Yeah. Very cool, man. Thank you for coming on the show. It's cool to see somebody that's in that South LA area that has that right mindset and wants to give back to the community, isn't big on the flash, is big on having money for the sake of actually improving things for people.
Right.
So, that's definitely what I'm about, 100%. We follow a lot of the same people. I watch a lot of Gary, I watch a lot of Jay Morrison.
Yeah.
A lot of things you're saying, I'm like, yeah, I get it. So, this is episode number 38/39. I'm going to upload this to YouTube right after I get done with it, but we'll also be getting it chopped and screwed by our podcast editor, who does a great job. So the official episode will likely be done on Monday. So,
but no, we're going to put it on the YouTube.
It's all good. You know what the crazy part about it is? I did this interview for Erica Williams, and I had no haircut, nothing, and it got 7,000 views. And I've gotten so many people that have joined Erica Williams. She has the Classy Climb blog. Now, I'm sure to you. She follows a lot of stuff that I do. But, all content matters, man. So it's you might not think you're the freshest right now, but somebody will see it, and they'll resonate more with what you said than what you look or the like that you have on a suit and tie or whatever. So, yeah. We'll be in contact. Thank you for coming on the show. And, take care, man.
Appreciate it. Y'all be good out there.